we talking about today?
Happiness.
And the purpose behind travel. It's going to be all about happiness and why are you traveling in the first place?
Philosophy.
With tea.
What is the definition of happiness?
It definitely has a component of fulfillment. But happiness to me is also tied to an event or a situation that brings a feeling of joy. When you feel joy and you just start smiling or laughing, or you're just sort of overtaken with this feeling maybe of sort of euphoria, to me, I think that that's what happiness means. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's really similar to what I would say too.
Yeah.
Where it's something that's more than just contentment, and it's something akin to joy. It's a synonym. Like, it's this feeling that you have on the inside that you can't really fake or force.
I do think that happiness is something that will always have a different definition depending on who you ask. I don't know that there's necessarily an objective for what does happiness mean, because I think different people...
Dictionary?
Do you have a dictionary actually in your house that we can just pull up also? Is that not a dictionary right there?
That's a chemical dictionary.
Do you have a English grammar dictionary?
Do you want me to get it?
Yeah.
Happy. Feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Fortunate, characterized by happiness. Yeah.
What does Google say?
Definition of happiness. First is a state of well-being and contentment. Joy. Another is a pleasurable or satisfying experience.
Alright, so basically a lot of the definitions of happiness are saying that it's tied to joy, it's tied to a feeling of contentment, a feeling of...
It's like a lighter feeling, or, yeah.
I'm actually quite curious, so in the comments, let us know, what do you think? What does happiness mean to you?
So before we even get into like why are you traveling and why you should travel, that kind of thing, then let's talk about the pursuit of happiness. So something that I've found in my years and my research and stuff is that I thought I wanted to pursue happiness. I wanted happiness as like my end goal in life, just to be happy. And I think a lot of people want to do that too, but from what I've learned over the years is that that's actually an unhealthy goal to have, because being happy all the time just isn't realistic. There's always going to be certain events, certain things that happen out of your control, and those are going to make you unhappy or just less happy than, 100% happiness level. So
yeah, for sure.
It's unattainable to think that you can have happiness all the time. So by having that goal and trying to pursue it, but not being able to get it, that will inevitably make you unhappy. So it's kind of a weird situation.
Maybe as cliche as it might sound, life really is about the journey, and that journey has a lot of ups, but it also has a lot of downs.
And that's where we grow.
And that's where we grow. And on my travels, actually, when I was in Belgrade, Serbia, one night I spent several hours with this girl sitting at this kitchen table in our hostel, just trying to, and like writing on napkins, because we didn't have paper. I don't know why we wrote on napkins, but just trying to pin down the definition of happiness, actually, and trying to pin down, is happiness the goal and should it be? And every single time someone from the hostel would like come in, we would stop them and be like, what does happiness mean to you? We just want some input. Tell us what happiness is. And by the way, this is like 11 p.m. at night. And people are going to like pub crawls and stuff, and they're like coming back and they're just seeing these two girls hammered.
Yeah.
And so we're asking drunk people like, what does happiness mean to you? And I'm trying to remember, I think a lot of them did say those keywords of like sort of joy, but a lot of times, what's really tricky actually is when you define happiness, I think a lot of times we use examples of happiness to define it. So it's very tricky.
I think it's because it's a feeling, it's intangible, so it's harder to describe than something that has shape and form. So that's probably why. With me, I had this crazy feeling of like freedom and enlightenment and like out of body almost experience where I felt part of the world rather than just myself. And I had that at the very beginnings of my travel, like the first day, because I had this really crazy, amazing experience, but then I was like, oh my god, I want this all the time. And that was super unhealthy because then I had my ups and downs. I had really like difficult times, and it's just not possible to always be at that point. So I realized, like through my experiences in this journey as well, and also through the meditation retreat that I did, that happiness isn't always the end goal. It's a state of being, but it's not something you can control. It's something to appreciate in the moment, and it's something where you can get when you're more in the present moment. So rather than thinking about the past or thinking about the future, if you're in the present, that's where you can experience the most happiness. And if you want to be more happy, try to be more mindful.
Travel does give you this sense of freedom, and I think that that's why people enjoy traveling a lot of the times as well, especially solo traveling and backpacking. I've never before in my life have I felt as free as I did in some of the moments where I was traveling. And it's this feeling where you want to feel it again, right? Like I want to feel it again, but should you really be chasing that feeling of freedom? Because then you're kind of on the go constantly.
I had that experience of freedom, and I had it a few times during this trip, but I didn't, like after I understood that it wasn't a good thing to chase because it's not something you can control, and that's what allowed me to be a bit happier, because I was just letting myself be in the moment, let myself just do what I was doing at the time, and that feeling would come as certain experiences or situations would arise just naturally. It's not something you can force.
No.
So
it actually can make you unhappy. Chasing the feeling can make you unhappy, and it's so weird, right? Because it's like, it sounds like such a paradox of what? But I'm chasing freedom. Why does that make me unhappy? Because it's not about...
Because it's not something you can force or you can get immediately with effort. Like, even if you do have some really great experiences, that's not necessarily going to make you feel that same feeling. Learning to appreciate things in the moment and being grateful for what you do have, just that is a really great way to be happy.
I was a bit lost and confused about what I wanted.
In life?
In life, yeah. I was a little bit lost and confused. And I wasn't sure if traveling would give me that answer. You know, I didn't think that I was about to, you know, eat, pray, love. I did not think I didn't think that that was going to be my life. But I just I was searching a little bit also when I left. I kept waiting for my Eureka moment a little bit. I just kept, you know, hoping it would fall from the sky of like, what do I do? You know, like just asking myself, what do I do?
It's like one day you're just taking a hike and
it's like, wow! You know, just at top of the mountain and you're like, this is my purpose. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. I was at the top of the mountain, but that, you know, I was like, I still don't have it.
You're just like at the top of the mountain.
You're just at the top of the mountain.
You're like, ooh, this is cool. And then you go back and you're like, so what am I doing with my life?
Right? And like, I think partially some of that can also just come from a lot of the movies that you watch, where like these people go on these journeys, they're, you know, probably on top of the mountain, and they're like with their arms up and they're like, this is it, you know, or like screaming. It's
to get
no.
To properly like have that understanding, that Eureka moment that doesn't actually come as a light bulb or anything. It's to sit still and think. Like, what have you experienced so far? What have you done? How have you grown? What do you like about yourself now? What do you like about things that you have stayed the same, etc., etc. Just like reflecting. That's how you're really going to understand more about yourself, how you're going to find yourself, because some things have always been there. They've just not been apparent to you until your travels. So
until after your travels.
During or after. Like
during or after, depending if you're...
Depends on when you take that break and reflect.
This is true.
Philosophy, happiness, travel. I guess those are our thoughts. Anything else?
Self-reflect, be authentic, be open, and you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that you just let yourself be present, then happiness can be achieved whether or not you're traveling. But it really does help increase your possibilities for happiness and great moments and appreciation when you are traveling.
I mean, traveling itself is just a completely different realm of experiences that you just won't get sitting in one room. It's a combination. That's what it is. It's not just travel. It's not just travel. It's not just sitting in one room. It's everything mixed together in a bowl that really makes it. Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then click the like button down below and press subscribe for any upcoming videos.
Our social media channels are linked at the bottom as always, so make sure to check those out. And that's it.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Bye!
Bye!
Random tangent, but yesterday I was having noodles for the first time in a week or so, and they say you can't buy happiness with money, but you can buy ramen. It's the same thing.